Today's Whiteboard Leadership Moment, I want to talk to you about the series meeting. We've already talked about the content retreat and the calendar. We've talked about the creative meeting, and now you're down to the place where you have chosen a series and you've chosen a theme for that series. And so the goal of this meeting is to develop the theme of the series. Where you go, well, it's comfortable, but it's close. Remember, you're going to have creatives as well as content people in the meeting. And this should only last just a couple of hours. And I just got to tell you, this is one of my favorite meetings because this is where it really becomes powerful if you do this very, very well. And so here's 4 things to think about. The first is to truly develop the theme. Now, I'm talking about the theme of the series. And so if you have chosen a theme, what does that look like? What are the elements of it? And how can we make this visual? I want you to think about and how you might advertise if you were inviting someone to come, and what kind of thematic things might be a part of the advertising and that kind of thing. And then I encourage you to dream about the environment. What would it look like? And how can we create an environment that people really sense something that's going on? For example, I know a church that did a series through Proverbs, and they were really excited about Solomon's wisdom, and in their mind, and in the mind of the Jewish people, that beards were a sign of wisdom. So they called the series Respect the Beard. And one of the things they did in that series was they had a beard growing contest. And so those who had beards, they took pictures of people in the community, in the congregation that had great beards, and they did a contest every week about who had the best beard. Now, did it have anything to do with Proverbs? No. But was it hysterical? Yes. People loved it. And it the laughter of their hearts prepared them to be ready to hear the word of God. So dream about the environment. What are the things we can have around the auditorium? I know one pastor that he did a Back to the Future series. So guess what he did? He actually got the DeLorean that was part of the Back to the Future movie and put it out front. And people were taking pictures beside it. It was great, but it created this conversation piece that people came into the auditorium. Let's talk about Back to the Future that God has for us. And it was a great segue for them by dreaming about the environment. Decide the week-to-week flow. We've talked about this idea of having bottom line statements that you could have from week to week. But let's just figure out, one week, does it add to the next week? How can we figure out the flow? Or maybe it's the elements in the services that we do one thing one week, and then the thing that maybe they receive a little knick-knack or something the next week, but it adds to it. Or perhaps there's an acrostic of someone. I know a church that gave out magnets, and it spelled out the Hebrew word shalom as they went on. They became refrigerator magnets. But you're thinking through the week-to-week flow. And then finally, discern the ministry rhythm. Where do the actions and where do the ministries of the church fit into the conversation we're having on the weekend? Remember what I said earlier whiteboards is this, that the weekend, the pulpit is not a teaching place only, it's also a leading place. You're trying to help people not just grow in their personal walk with Christ, but have the entire church move forward in the mission of Christ in the church. So how does that fit into the ministry rhythm? Where should we put baptism? Where should we call people to decision? Where should we call them to discipleship or get involved in groups or to serve or to go on the mission field? Just figure out the rhythm of the series. Where does communion fit in? All those things are really important as you design a series because they're all elements of a weekend service. And so think through, how can we move people forward in the mission of Christ and not just their walk with Christ? I know you're going to enjoy this meeting if you choose to do it. This has been a Converge Whiteboard Leadership Moment. To learn more about Converge or to join us, check out converge.org.